Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this evening, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my googly-eyed brother. You look like a bobblehead.
Man, listen.
Hold on.
My neck is not long enough.
My brother Alex.
What is up?
Wait a minute. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. I have a confession to make. It's actually breaking news. That's right. Positive Sports Podcast. We are breaking news.
Okay. This is
it's
breaking news because I don't know what the
I
hell we're
have a
talking about.
confession to make. So, last night, watching the World Series, right? Game, whatever. Last night, watching the World Series, right? I'm texting back and forth with cousin Jay, which I think you were in there, but we didn't get anything back from you.
Yeah, no, sometimes you guys go on these rants and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
So
I stay out of it and I just listen. I watch.
Yeah, long confession short. We got into a little back and forth about Boston and their titles, right? Mm-hmm. And they've got a numerous amount of titles since like 2003, 2004, right? Somewhere around there. So I told him that this year the Patriots aren't going to make the Super Bowl, and obviously he went against that, and he's like, bullshit. They're making the Super Bowl. They got Tom Brady and this and that.
Well, I don't think he said that. I think he said there's a good chance they'll make it. I don't think he was actually predicting a Patriots Super Bowl appearance.
We might have to go back to that.
We'll
but
have to go back to the tape.
Okay, so he said, I'll take that bet. So I told him, awesome. What do you want to bet? And I can't remember what he said, so I have to confess to my brother Ed that I bet your cheesesteak.
I saw that. I was not happy about that at all.
I bet your cheesesteak.
Jay, I don't give a crap what you bet with this mook. You don't bet my cheesesteak. You send me that goddamn cheesesteak. I'm still waiting for that thing. How long has it been?
Well,
a solid month at least, right? Jay, you're late on the cheesesteak, bro.
So if the Patriots make the Super Bowl and I lose, whenever you get your cheesesteak, just send it back.
Just send it back to Jay. Yeah, I'm gonna send it back with a big old bite missing out of it. There's no way I'm sending that thing back.
Dude, I was cracking up.
That's funny. We should go up there and collect. No, he should come down here and deliver it.
He should deliver it.
That's right. He should deliver it. Oh, man. So, if this podcast sounds funny, it's because I have been congested for, God, it's like the better part of a week now.
You sound terrible.
I do. And,
we're just going to mute you at the end.
If you just catch me going off screen and you hear me, hawking a loogie or whatever, I apologize.
Just don't do it on the mic.
No. But I may just,
or right on the camera.
I may just let one go over here. It's
now,
terrible.
Is that from yesterday?
No.
Were you screaming and hollering?
No screaming and hollering. I was just I don't know. I've just been sick, but I just enjoyed the World Series yesterday. I didn't do any screaming and hollering.
Oh,
Did you?
No, not at all. It was a very short-lived World Series. No?
I was thinking about this morning as I was watching all the highlights and whatnot. The Red Sox really kind of ruined the playoffs. Because even the series with the Astros, they just kind of took it over. Mm. And, it was a 5-game series. The games were close. The Dodgers look like they might do something, especially after that 18-inning game. And I know that I enjoyed the ALCS and the NLCS and the World Series. I enjoyed it immensely. But I also understand that for the average sports fan, it probably wasn't all that. Because it was kind of dominated by the Red Sox. The Red Sox just seemed to push all the right buttons at all the right times. And they made relatively short work. They made relatively short work of the Yankees. They made relatively short work of the Astros. And they made relatively short work of the Dodgers. And quite frankly, the Dodgers, once they blew that 4-run lead in Game 4, you could just tell that they were no match.
But isn't that what we want to see in sports? A team dominate, especially in baseball from game. Heck, from spring training, I think I saw or heard somewhere that they went 17-2 in spring training.
Did they really?
Yeah, so I mean they've
been cranking it out even when it didn't count?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I mean, isn't that what we want to see?
They've had
somebody dominate.
They did. They
did.
certainly had a dominant season. Remember, there was a stretch in the beginning where they beat the brakes off the Yankees, over the course of 6 games in a week and a half or whatever. And then they dispatched of 3 really good teams in the playoffs. I would call this a dominant season by the Red Sox. They deserve every bit of praise that they get.
Yeah.
Some of it I think is overblown, but they do deserve it because at the end of the day, they won 17 games in spring training. They won 108 in the regular season, which is a very impressive thing to do. And they won another 11 in the playoffs, 119 wins when it counted, and those last 11 against very good teams. So I have nothing but high praise. Do you agree with Steven Pearce being the MVP?
I'm not mad at it. I mean, he had 8 RBIs in 5 games and 3 home runs, 2 home runs. I kind of would have given it to David Price. I mean, I think he had a very honorable mention in my books, just because he pitched in 3 games.
Yeah,
and I mean
he pitched
in the
well.
He night and day compared to his first 11 postseason starts.
He pitched. So just to recap, he pitched Game 2 in Boston,
That's right,
which they won. He pitched in Game 4, right? He pitched an inning in Game 4, or 2/3 of an inning.
Yeah.
And then last night, he was masterful. Last night, I mean,
he went 8 innings. Seven.
Just a shade over 7 and a batter, I think.
Right.
And you know what he did a tremendous job of throughout this series was he really kept the Dodgers off balance.
Yeah.
Now I'm not a professional baseball player, but I did stay at a Red Roof Inn last night. No, I'm not a professional baseball player, but even myself, as I watch as much baseball as I watch, I can tell when I'm going to get changeups. I can tell when I'm going to get off-speed pitches, fastballs, inside, outside, waste a pitch, don't waste a pitch. How am I going to pitch to this better? Who's coming up? I could think those things through because I follow baseball very closely. And I couldn't pinpoint what Price was doing. He was throwing curveballs on 3-0 counts. He was throwing fastballs on 0-2 counts. He didn't care who was batting next. He didn't care that it was Machado. He was doing his own thing, and the Dodgers seemed completely baffled. And more so last night. It seems like last night, I don't know if it was just a lack of confidence in the Dodgers at this point, but they looked like they were guessing, and they were guessing wrong all the time. David Price had everybody really confused.
I'm sure the Dodgers were squeezing a bit. I mean,
the
term pressure in sports is sometimes overblown, but they got to win 3 in a row.
Yeah,
you got to win at home, and then you got to go on the road, and you're not looking to manufacture runs. You're looking to probably just hit home runs. So that's probably why.
Well, in all fairness, though, that's the way they lived and died all season long, right? They lived and died by the home run. And early in the season, when they had a lot of injuries and they were kind of, trudging along, not doing well. Remember, this team was 10 games out at one point, and they came back, made the playoffs, and made it all the way to the World Series. And that whole process was based on home run hitting, more so than manufacturing runs and hitting singles and doubles. So
I think the turning point for David Price was when he had to sweep in the bullpen. Did you see him sweep in the Astro series?
Yeah.
I think he did not like that job. He said, "You know what, man?
I got to start pitching
better."
Yeah, good for him. It was really I thought he was masterful. I don't have a problem with Pearce winning MVP, but I could have gone Price, especially considering how vaunted that Dodgers lineup is. The next story that kind of comes out at me is, so now we all know the light was shown very brightly on Manny Machado.
Mm-hmm.
And now he goes into free agency this year. He played in I won't say obscurity, but not the bright lights in Baltimore, especially a team that wasn't good. He went to LA, bright lights, and a good team, brighter lights, and now he made it to this stage, the brightest of lights. Mm-hmm. What do you think he did for himself in terms of free agency?
I don't think he did much. He didn't improve his value.
Right.
I don't think he improved his value at all. Did you see Chris Sale on that last strikeout? I mean, he made him fall. That's how silly he looked.
Yeah, he looked silly.
And Machado's a hell of a third baseman. He's a hell of a player, offensive player, but just I don't really appreciate his dirtiness that I've seen it 2 times in this same postseason. And when you get put on a team like the Dodgers and you don't really produce as you should, I'll be a little hesitant to give you a big contract.
Yeah, I think he hurt himself.
A big dollar value contract.
Right. I think he hurt himself tremendously. And not so much with his performance, because I think teams will overlook it and say, well, the Red Sox are great, blah, 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 blah. But his antics, I think, are going to cost him. I think, and look, here's the thing. He's going to get a big contract, don't get me wrong. But is he going to get that gargantuan contract that he was going to get 3 weeks ago? I don't think so. And this is why. Every team wants him, right? But you can take about 20 teams off the table just for sheer dollars, right? So there's probably only 10. So now you have 10 people vying for one guy. Mm-hmm. So when you have 10 people competing for one contract, the dollars in that contract have to go sky high, right? If you take 3 out of that mix, now you're down to 7. There's less competitors. And if you happen to take out, the biggest competitor, like the Yankees, well, now that really deflates the number. So is he going to get 150, 200 million? Probably. Could he have gotten 250 or 300? Maybe. We'll never know. But I have to believe that his antics this postseason cost him a little bit in that regard. And it's a shame because he's a phenomenal talent.
He's young too, man. He's like 25, 26.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
In his prime.
Phenomenal talent. But these bright lights really expose that he's... I don't know what his deal is, but the whole thing with stepping on people at first base...
Dude, I didn't think I was... I thought I was just seeing shit Saturday night. But I swear it looked like he had already crossed the bag. Or, no, whoever was on first. Muncy? Was Muncy on first? Taking the throw?
No, Muncy was running to second.
Oh, right.
It was a double play.
Pierce, I'm sorry. Pierce was on first, right? The first baseman. And it looked like Machado went to step on the bag with his left foot and then shifted it. And I didn't notice it on the first replay.
He got him clean.
I noticed it on the second replay, and then when they zoomed in, I swear you could see his foot just shift.
Well, you see it at the last minute that he kind of moves his foot to the left just enough to get him on the heel.
And I'm like, look, he did it again.
And look, for those of you that have never played baseball and have never seen a base, it's 1.5 feet wide. Well, it's probably a foot, right? It's probably at least 12 inches wide.
Yeah.
It's 12 inches wide. Your foot is only 4 inches wide.
Right.
I mean, Fred Flintstone's feet are 6 inches wide. You got room to spare. Right. And for a guy who's supposed to be busting it down the line, trying to break up the double play, why are you worried about stepping on somebody? What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah. And that's another thing right there, busting it down the line, bro. How do you at least lie about hustling? Seriously. I mean, at least lie.
Look, in this, and here's the thing. In this day of analytics, everyone knows a single and a double get you a run.
Oh, yeah.
All you need is a single and a double in any inning. And you don't even need them in any particular order. Right? It's better to have a double and then a single. That's probably the safer bet. But unless you got someone really slow, even a single and then a double will get you a run. dude, all you got to do is run hard to second base. If it goes out of the park, you can jog the rest of the way.
I mean, he has no problem sliding hard into second base.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck?
I mean, it just, I don't understand, if it was, you and I had this conversation, I think, in the middle of last week. One play, it's a dirty play. 2 plays, okay, dirty plays. 3 plays, you're a dirty player. No. And quite frankly, I think a lot of guys are not going to want that in the dugout. This is not a Chase Utley situation. As bad as I thought Chase Utley did in that slide against the Mets years ago, and I thought it was one of the dirtiest things I've ever seen, he was very clearly trying to break up a double play, and it's the only play we've seen like that out of Utley. I can't remember another.
Yeah, no.
I mean, he's not that kind of guy. With Machado, he did it earlier this season to Pedroia. He did it twice to the Dodge in this series or in the last series. He did it twice to the Brewers. Stepped on a guy. He stepped on Pierce. Aguilar he kicked because he stepped with one foot and then kicked him with the other. I mean, like, and he didn't have one no hustle run down the line. He had 2.
Yeah.
You're like, come on, man. Look, if you can't hustle in the World Series, do I really want this guy where, in game 38 I need a run? He's probably not going to give it to me.
Where do you think he ends up? Sorry, I didn't let you answer. But I have a feeling
So you want to tell me where you think he's going to end up?
That's really what I meant.
Go ahead, man.
I have a feeling the Yankees are just going to outbid themselves.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because look, the Yankees have plenty of hitting, right?
Right.
They've got a shortstop that they love in Didi Gregorius, although he's having Tommy John surgery, which makes it a little nervous. But so they don't need another bat. They need some pitching. They need some bullpen help.
I agree.
So why would you spend all that money?
Because they're the Yankees.
Well, yeah, no, I know but you're talking more of the old Steinbrenner way. The new Steinbrenner way is not quite like that. Plus, they just made the big splash for Giancarlo Stanton, and here's the thing: that's a relatively young team.
Yeah.
Do you want that kind of influence on a young team? My guess is no. And personally, if I was the Yankees, I wouldn't do it. There's money to be spent in other places where it's more necessary.
I agree.
So if I'm the Yankees, I wouldn't do it. But you're right. The Yankees do have a history of outbidding themselves for players that they don't necessarily address the biggest holes on the team.
And remember, they could easily sign him for like a year, and have him replace Didi for that year.
Yeah, but why would Machado do that?
Right. Yeah.
Why would Machado do that if the Nationals are going to offer him a 6-year deal for $150 or whatever?
Yeah, who knows? I'm sure we're going to hear lots of rumors between now and free agency, right?
Free agency starts on
I don't know when
Wednesday,
it starts.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday is when you'll start hearing about free agents, and then obviously the signings are after that.
So, what do you think about all this analytics BS in baseball? Because it kind of, I feel like it played a part in with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And I think it's annoying. It really is annoying.
Look, I'm a numbers junkie, so I like it. But where I do think it's a problem is I think there are certain times when these guys overthink it. And it's really unfortunate the way it shook out, because in this series, you're gonna rip my head off for this. I think both managers overthought it. The difference was the players came through for Cora, the players didn't come through for Roberts. I think the decision making was poor on both sides. But Alex Cora got away with it. At the end of the day, he got away with it. His decision in Game 3 to pitch Eovaldi that much, if the Dodgers win Game 4, boy, we're having a very different conversation today talking about what Game 6 and 7 are going to be like. Because I promise you, the Dodgers would have won last night, and they'd be in a whole heap of trouble coming into Game 6 and 7, even in Boston. They'd be down 3-2 at this point. I thought it was a terrible decision, and the Dodgers were a couple of innings away from making it a horrific decision on Cora's part. The other decision that I thought was absolutely terrible, and I have been beating the drum about this for a long time. The decision to use your closer for a 6-out save is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And look, during the season, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. In the playoffs, when there's so much focus on one team, the Dodgers are focused on nothing but the Dodgers. When you get to see a guy, potentially over the course of 7 games, you could literally see a guy 7 times over the course of 10 days. To see him over and over again makes you more and more comfortable with him. To bring him in for a 2-inning save in Game 3, because he did it in Game 3 when Jackie Bradley tied it up in the 8th.
Right.
He did it in Game 3, knowing that even if you win that game, even if you get away with it, you gotta see the Red Sox at least 3 more times. Look, if he was so good that he could go through the lineup repeatedly, you know what he would be? A starting pitcher. Am I the only one that does this math?
I don't understand it. I personally hate it. It never works. It just never works. I don't think Mariano Rivera ever went out for a 6-out save. Maybe he did. I don't know.
The first time I saw it, where I thought it was too much, was in 2001. The Yankees threw Mariano Rivera out there every single game. By the time they got to Game 7, the Diamondbacks were like, "Oh yeah, we know this. Yeah. We know how this cutter works." And they made the adjustments, and he ended up losing the World Series. I think it is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
It almost makes me as mad as the VAR.
No, not even almost.
That's a good point. Nothing makes me as mad.
Nothing. I think we're going to see this analytic bullshit more and more. Only because it starts at the top. And the GMs that are being hired are young, right? And so they just come in with that numbers, analytical tactics. And it just trickles down to the manager, and you know.
Well, the thing what the analytics are doing is they're making you play the averages, right? So it's no different than if you flip a coin. Well, it is slightly different, but it's no different than if you flip a coin 99 times and you get 99 times you get heads. You bet tails because the law of averages says sooner or later it's going to even out. So you go with that. That's your analytics, and that's what they're doing here. But what this series proved is the players still win the game, right? The players still have to make it happen. Yeah. And Jackie Bradley Jr. sucked. But boy, put him in a late inning at bat with 2 outs, and that boy's hitting a home run. No questions asked. And so Jackie Bradley was the wrong choice in Game 3 by all the analytics. He was the wrong choice. But he made it happen. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's how this works. The players make it happen. And quite frankly, the reason that the Red Sox won this series in 5 instead of in 7, because they're not that much better than the Dodgers, is because the players made the plays happen. And the analytics got overridden.
The amount of 2-out hits that this Boston Red Sox team hit, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Clutches can be.
Oh yeah,
clutches can be. They were fantastic. They deserve every bit of accolades.
And you know what?
And quite frankly, and like I said, I don't think the accolades go to Cora for his decision making. I think the accolades go to Cora for the mentality that he built on that team. That team had a mentality that. No outs, 1 out, or 2 outs, we're all hitters. That mentality was, whether I pitch today, tomorrow, or the next day, I'm a player in this game and I'm going to make something happen. It doesn't matter if I bat this inning, next inning, or the inning after that, I'm going to be a hitter. He built a mentality that they are always ready to respond and perform and do something, make a play, make something happen. That mentality is what got him through his decision making.
I don't 100% agree with you, but I mean, it just look from top to bottom. That team was, determined.
Oh, yeah, and it helps to have really good players.
Yeah, no, they did.
Right.
They have 2 MVPs.
Right. That's the other thing that helped. So, I mean, I could have made some good decisions too if I had,
And you can give, even Dave Roberts could have won MVP. How much he helped out Boston.
How did he help out Boston?
With his bad decision making. He helped Boston in 2004. 14 years later, he's helping them. That's got to suck.
Maybe he's a closet Boston.
Probably.
Maybe Boston has him on the payroll.
Next year, you will not be saying the Dodgers are going to make the run. This is going to sting for a little bit, I think. This is going to be tough to come back from. Losing one World Series is tough to come back from. Losing back-to-back
is tough.
He may not even come back, right? He may get fired, depending on. I don't think he will.
I think they're going to resign him.
I think so too. But as a team overall,
yeah, it's
now they could be a team desperate to throw money at maybe Machado, maybe not, but more so Harper. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna feel the pressure to have to
fresh blood.
Third time's a charm. Maybe.
Yeah, look, two things. First, on Dave Roberts, they're gonna keep him.
Yeah, I think
he's done a masterful job with that team, and let's remember, in the beginning of the year, with the injuries and the slump, the World Series hangover from last year, they were 10 games out. They came back. So, he as much as we're being critical of his decision making in the World Series and in the playoffs, there's a lot to laud to as to what he's done with that team and kept them focused throughout the year. As far as the hangover thing, they experienced a bit of a hangover this year from last year's World Series. And at the end of the day, remember, playing an extra 20 games, it wears on you, right?
Yeah.
They will have played 360 games over the last 2 years. That's a haul, and it's tough.
And don't forget Kershaw, who doesn't show up in the playoffs. He can opt out. I don't think he will. There's not going to be... Look... You mentioned the team earlier that he's pitching.
Yeah, that's true. As much as people like Kershaw, and I like him too, I'm not as critical of him as you are. The fact of the matter is, he's not the same pitcher he used to be. The injuries and the years have taken their toll on him. He's not a dominant one, and I think the only people that are going to offer him the kind of money that comes close to being a dominant one is going to be the Dodgers. So I don't think he's going anywhere.
In all fairness, when he was a dominant one, you would say, right? At some point.
When he was?
Was he ever?
Was he? Yes.
Okay.
He was a dominant one.
He didn't do shit in the playoffs when he was a dominant one.
He was actually worse in the playoffs when he was a dominant one. I don't think he pitched poorly.
Look, he's all-time great pitcher, but facts are facts. Regular season, postseason, day and night.
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't say that, and that's not fair either. I hate it when people say that because it's not fair. The what are you playing in the playoffs? You're playing against teams with 60% wins, right? During the year, you pitch against a wide swath of teams so that the average is 50%. So you're facing better teams in the playoffs. Of course, your record is going to be worse.
See, there you go with that analytics. Bringing numbers into the situation. Damn it.
All right, that's enough talk about that. Congratulations to the Red Sox. Yeah. They were awesome. Are you going to the parade on Wednesday?
I will not be going to the parade on Wednesday because I'm not a Red Sox fan.
I think it'd be fun.
I
think championship parades are always fun.
Yeah, if they're my team.
Even if it wasn't your team, I think it'd be neat I think it's neat to see.
No, if maybe like the Rockies, then yeah, I would have went. Not Boston.
You wouldn't have gone, period.
No, I wouldn't have.
Did you catch any NFL action this week?
Very little. Actually, I'm lying. I was tortured again. I watched the Giants.
I have no sympathy for you.
We won't even go there. Well,
let's knock that one out real quick. So
it's very easy.
So just two quick things. The team is terrible. Yesterday's game specifically. How much is Eli's fault? How much is not? For the offense, obviously.
50-50, man.
No.
It's 50-50.
No,
bro.
you're crazy.
It's 50-50.
It's
half his fault.
It's a lot less than half.
Okay, 33%. 33.3. Coaching, line, Eli. The play calling is terrible. The line won't block. Eli makes some bad throws, he looks scared to go downfield at this point, and what does he do? He checks down 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. The team is lost. It's absolute lost. And what I hate about this whole thing is this. The owners made 2 trades this week.
Right.
Made 2 trades.
Even traded in Eli.
Traded in Eli.
Not Eli Manning.
The wrong one. No, they traded Eli.
Eli Apple had to go to.
No, yeah, it's good. So, what us as a fan, not me, but most Giants fans will say, "Oh man, we traded away 2 players, cleared some cap space, got some draft picks in return. This is great. Now what? Tomorrow's the deadline. I haven't heard of any moves. Nothing's been talked about any moves. So I feel like this is just a little Band-Aid. You know, look, the owners aren't how can I say? They aren't committed to a full rebuild. There's no way in hell. Because there's no way in hell that as an owner, you're going to affect your pockets without having names on the team for the fans to go see, is what I think.
Here's my problem with the Giants. And the Giants are in rebuild mode. The problem is I don't think that the pieces to rebuild are coming anytime soon. They're going to get a high draft pick. I don't see a quarterback out there in this year's draft that is worthy. Everyone talks about the kid from Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm not sold. So, and the Giants don't have that quarterback on their roster. So what are they going to do? They can't continue to run the Eli show. They may run it the rest of this year, like you say, to have something for people to come out and watch. So they're going to run it through this year, but next year, yikes! What are they going? What are they going to do? They're going to go try to get Fitzpatrick off of the Bucks or Winston, or if because one of them is going to be out over there, right? Well, but anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But so what is the rebuild plan? There really isn't one, and you can't, in my opinion, you cannot build an NFL team around a wide receiver and a running back. A, running backs don't last that long.
Yeah.
And B, you cannot build an offense around a guy that stands outside the numbers. You cannot do it. It is. People have tried. It does not work. It has to be in the middle of the field. It has to be your quarterback. It has to be your offensive line. It has to be your tight ends. And the Giants are woefully behind in all of those categories. And while I think they can certainly, by stockpiling draft picks and whatnot, maybe rebuild that offensive line, there's no one to call the signals behind that offensive line. They're in for a long haul. They're not going to be good next year.
No, it's going to be...
it's a problem.
It's going to be a long next few years,
It's a problem. It surely is a problem. And the Redskins look good at 5-2, but again, I think the Redskins are smoke and mirrors. I'm not sold. I still think the best team in that division is the Eagles.
You think so? Look, the Eagles. Look at the teams that they've played. Look at the teams that they've won against and lost against, and then look at the Redskins and the teams that they played and lost against.
Yeah,
I mean that division is not good at all.
No, the division is terrible, but I still think the Eagles are the best team in that division.
I mean, you can't even say that.
I mean, did.
Yeah, but why did you? You can't say that though.
Because they've proven it to me once already.
Yeah, but it was a little different last year.
Why?
Because they were playing the underdog role.
They're still playing the underdog role. Because of people like you.
Yeah, but they
don't want to believe that they're a good football team.
They're not a good football team. They suck.
See? They're the underdog.
Dude, they suck. Look at
they're the underdog.
No, they're not.
So it's the same as last
year.
No,
they're not, because you believe in them. No, I mean, yeah, I think the 3 teams are mediocre. I don't see the Super Bowl representative of the NFC will not be coming out of the NFC East.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, where it may be coming from is the NFC West.
Maybe.
That Rams team looks as good as advertised. They took a serious punch in the mouth, not once, but twice from the Packers, and they still came back and they beat them. You know what I hated this week? Hate's a strong word. I don't want to say that. What I really did not like this week, all of the talk about how Aaron Rodgers has never been a double-digit underdog against, and I'm like, can you? You know that had to be up on the bulletin board at Rams headquarters all week. Oh, the whole story was about Aaron Rodgers. Why are we not talking about this Rams team? This team is good. They were good last year. They're better this year. Why are we not talking about them? Why is the media not talking about them? Why is it that we get a marquee matchup, and I use quotes because the only marquee really, to be fair, was the Rams, because the Packers they're good, but they're not marquee yet. And all we talked about was the Packers. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, because that Rams team is good, and if I had to put my money on it right now, shocker, 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 I'd pick the Rams.
That's going out on a limb.
Yeah, look, they look tough. Well, they're not going to go 16-0, but they look awfully tough.
I think partially is it's two things. It's Aaron Rodgers. So, it's Aaron Rodgers. And two, the Rams are not drawing a lot of fans. So, no, seriously, I'm sure that has something to do with it.
I guess, but, I mean, you would think 7-0 would...
Yeah.
I mean, we talk more about the Chiefs than we do about the Rams. And I think the Rams, they're undefeated.
Well, next week should be good because the Rams play the Saints.
Oh, that's going to be good. I'll tell you what, the NFC has a lot of good teams, and I'm excited to see them play each other. Like, so you've got Minnesota. I think Green Bay's a good team. Maybe not quite to that level, but I think Minnesota's really good. The Saints are really good. The Panthers look really good. I mean, they played well against a tough Ravens defense yesterday. Cam Newton looks like the real deal. And then, of course, you've got the Rams out in the West.
The thing that scares me about the Saints, well, that should scare other teams about the Saints, is that their defense is playing pretty good.
Yes.
Which is
not usually been their strong suit, right?
So is the offense, right? Now their defense, and it's not because they added Eli Apple. Let's just make that clear.
Yeah, I don't think he even played yesterday.
I think he played. But either way, the defense is kind of coming around, so that...
They look tough.
Yeah.
They look tough. Hey, did you watch any of the Rams-Packers game?
No, I did not.
There was a play in that game where the Rams had the ball, and Jared Goff is in the pocket, and the pocket starts to collapse, but kind of from the side. So he kind of steps a little bit to the left and then steps forward, and Clay Matthews comes around, and he goes to, they're kind of running almost like a crossing pattern. Mm-hmm. So Clay Matthews lunges himself at him, and with the forearm right across the head. When he went down, it almost looked like a face mask the way he took him down.
Yeah.
But, he just absolutely wrapped him upside the head. No flag.
No flag.
I was like, we haven't seen that since like the 70s. That head slap move. It was...
What is a flag?
I don't know. It's terrible, but the NFC...
Yeah, the NFC is shaping up.
It's going to be interesting.
To be pretty good. The Vikings all of a sudden look pretty vulnerable.
What did they do yesterday?
They lost to the Saints. They pretty much got their... Huh?
The Saints are good.
Yeah, they also lost to the Packers.
Well, the Packers are good. No, they didn't. They tied.
They tied?
Yeah.
Well,
they should have lost.
They got shellacked by the Buffalo Bills.
Right. But they're starting to. Yeah, they're starting to.
I don't know.
Have you seen Kirk Cousins is putting up some numbers, man?
No, he's good, man. He's got the benefit of having two pretty good wide receivers.
We say that, but Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback.
No, yeah, he's good. He's good. He's good.
He's
really not in the elite tier.
Not yet. But he's really good.
He's in the really good tier.
Yeah, look, you say what you want about the guy, but he was doing the damn thing in Washington with nothing.
Yeah, with Jay bad play calling Gruden.
Yeah, I mean, so he's pretty good. Move over to the AFC. Boy, we really. Oh, I wanted to get your thoughts on this one because it affects something that I'm sure you're keeping tabs on. The Bengals-Bucks game.
Yeah.
Right. The Bengals won. Your sleeper thing is still it's pretty good. They're looking pretty good. So my hat's off to you. The Bucks sat Jameis Winston. They benched him and brought back Fitzmagic.
Do you believe in magic?
Don't sing ever again. What do you think about that move?
I think that's the right freaking move. Absolutely. Jameis Winston was suspended for the first 4 games.
Right.
He has thrown 10 interceptions in 4 games. And not to mention...
He's making up for lost time.
And not to mention, I think some of the players, especially Deshaun Jackson, was a little, disgruntled that Fitzmagic got benched.
Look,
look at yesterday as a prime example.
He was terrible.
And you bring in Fitzmagic and all of us. I hate calling him that, Fitzpatrick, and he freaking lights it up. 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, they damn near win the game.
Yeah, I think the team has very much rallied around Fitzpatrick. And look, Jameis Winston makes bad decisions off the field, and he makes bad decisions on the field. And I understand if you're the Bucks, you've got all this money tied up in this guy that you think is going to be the face of your franchise. But at the end of the day, at some point you got to cut bait.
Yeah.
And this may be the point with Jameis Winston. It's just not working in Tampa Bay. I'm not quite sure what the problem is. He's got weapons, and he just can't seem to get it worked out. So.
Well, I mean, if the head coach wants to save his job, I suggest leaving Fitzpatrick in there.
But I mean, here's the problem though. I mean, if the GM and the owners and the rest of the upper organization believes that Jameis Winston is your solution, look, you're not going to win with Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So if you go with Fitzpatrick because you think it's a better option, I'm not saying you're wrong. But if you don't make a playoff run or make the playoffs, and upper management wants Jameis Winston, you're setting yourself up to get fired.
Yeah.
Whereas if you stay with Jameis Winston, maybe you can talk to them at the end of the season and go, look, this is really not he unfortunately is not our solution. We need to do something different, and maybe you go in a different direction then, and you get more lifeline on your coaching career in Tampa Bay for Dirk Cutter.
Well, I think
one man's opinion.
I think at this point that's it. They're done with Winston. Not that they've already named. They
named him the starter for this coming week too.
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think Winston is done.
Yikes. Not necessarily, because again, if they don't perform well with Fitzpatrick to the point. Here's what I think: if they do well enough to not bench him and bring Winston back, but not good enough to make the playoffs, and upper management still believes that Jameis Winston should be the face of this franchise, Dirk Cutter's going to get fired.
Yeah, I
don't think it's right, but
yeah, I mean, I just think at this point, you let him come back, you let him start.
Fitzpatrick?
No, Jameis Winston after suspension, right? He came back.
Yeah, you gave him a shot.
Now you're benching him. I think that's it.
Yeah, I would hope so. I personally think that Dirk Cutter is making a stand here, and he's saying, look, I'll take this guy that's not as good before I take this guy. And if Fitzpatrick bails him out and they do really well, he's going to keep his job. If they don't make the playoffs, it's going to cost him his job. But hats off to him for having the guts to do it.
Yeah. I wish Pat Shurmur had some guts, but well, whatever.
We've already talked about it. We're not talking about the Giants anymore.
One team that does not need to worry about their quarterback situation is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mahomes, man. Wow. That guy.
What can he not do?
He was just slicing and dicing that Denver defense yesterday.
I mean,
without a care in the world.
And they have a squad too, man.
If their defense can hold it together, man, they're going to be a really tough out. They're going to be a super tough out.
I mean, when you look at their team,
because offensively they've got weapons everywhere.
They're stacked. And they're fast.
They're fast. And Andy Reid knows what he's doing. I mean, Andy Reid is no slouch.
The Kool-Aid guy.
I like that guy. He looks like Santa Claus on the side, especially now playing for the Chiefs. He's
Yeah,
wearing
right.
a red jacket.
He's gonna be wearing red during the holidays.
Andy Reid has job security galore. He's not going anywhere. One guy that did not have job security coming into the season was Hugh Jackson. Now he has job security. He is currently unemployed.
Got to stand on the unemployment line.
That's right, and the unemployment line will employ him for as long as he wants. You can collect Social Security, bro.
That's about it.
Yeah, but look, what are they doing? What are the Browns doing? This guy, they've won infinitely more games than they did last year. They've won twice. That's more than they had in the previous 2 seasons combined. The improvement is astronomical. How could you get rid of this guy?
Something in the locker room is not right. There can't be, right? Because you fire him, you fire the offensive coordinator too.
How did the defensive coordinator not get whacked? Are they losing games 3-0 and I don't know this?
Because that's the bounty guy, Greg Williams.
They gave up 33 points to the Steelers yesterday. The defense was phenomenal.
Right? Why didn't he get fired?
I mean, if you're 1-15, 0-16, 2-3-1, or 2-4-1, whatever they are this year, you're gonna fire somebody. Fire them all. What are you doing keeping the defensive guy? And why make the change in the middle of the season? If 1-15 and 0-16 was good enough for this guy to get another shot with a brand new quarterback, why would you nuke him now?
I have a suggestion for the Browns.
Start over.
Johnny Manziel should become coach.
Oh God.
Could you imagine?
No, I could not. Put Johnny.
That'd be hilarious. Johnny and Baker.
Oh my God.
Johnny Baker.
Well, it'd be Johnny baked all the time. Hey, the other big news this week that I think is going to fly under the radar a little bit is the Texans. The Texans have now won 4 in a row, but
5.
4 or 5?
I think
5 in a row.
5.
I'm sorry, I stand corrected. 5 in a row. They're 5-3 at the halfway point. Certainly good enough to make the playoffs. However, they lost Will Fuller to an ACL injury. He's gone for the year. Now, I know we talk a lot about DeAndre Hopkins, and with good reason, right? DeAndre Hopkins is probably, this year, the best receiver in the NFL. That catch he made that didn't count against the Dolphins, sick.
Fair enough.
Sick.
Agree.
But Will Fuller plays a very significant role in that offense on the other side, and he is a playmaker as well. Really, I think, helps keep the pressure off of DeAndre Hopkins. And now he's gone. And so Deshaun Watson, who doesn't have a ton of weapons, he doesn't have a dominant tight end. He's got one dominant receiver. He had another really good receiver. Now he's down to only one dominant weapon. It's a problem.
With a below average offensive line.
Right. There's another team. That guy's running for his life more often than not. I think it's a big problem for the Texans offense, and I'm sad to see it because the Texans were really starting to become that team that we were so high on before the season started. I told you they'd get off to a slow start, but eventually come around and win 5 in a row.
That's my Super Bowl pick.
Well, you had Texans Saints.
Texans Saints.
I'll tell you what, except for the Fuller injury through yesterday, it's not a bad pick.
No.
Not
still got other teams in the AFC.
Yeah, there's other teams in the NFC as well, but not an impossible pick.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Texans going and making a trade. You know what I mean? I mean, get somebody to take, like you said, take some of that pressure off Hopkins.
Yeah, but if the Texans can do anything to address their offensive line issues, I would do that first because that'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It'll open up a little more running game, which will help, and it'll keep Deshaun Watson upright because seeing that guy run around the field makes me nervous.
Yeah, it's a damn shame because he's good.
He's good. He's good. He is as good as advertised. I really like him. I think if he was behind a better offensive line, wow, we would. I think if he had a better offensive line, I think we'd be talking about him, almost like we're talking about Mahomes.
Yeah.
He has less. He would have less weapons, but I think he's more mobile than Mahomes. Mahomes isn't a stiff back there, but Deshaun Watson is electric.
Well,
electric.
I think going forward, they're going to rely some more on the run game. Lamar Miller had a decent game. I think he broke for over 100 yards, a couple touchdowns. I think they're going to rely more on the running game.
They're going to need more than that.
So the South is pretty much. I mean, it's not over, but it looks like it's going to be them, right? I mean,
the Colts.
The Colts might play spoiler.
No, they're not a good football team. Look,
no,
they looked good yesterday, but let's put it in perspective. It was against the Raiders, and the Raiders are right now watching the scoreboard to see how the Giants are doing because they want to get the first pick over the Giants. I mean, that's really all it boils down to at this point.
I hope they win every game left.
Good luck.
Yeah, well, I guess they're the only team with the winning record.
The team that we thought was going to give them a fight in the South was the Jaguars, and the Jaguars are skipping on bar tabs. So apparently they're not interested in winning football games anymore.
$45,000 bar tab. Have you ever skipped out on a bar tab?
There was this one time. No.
Have you ever skipped out on any tab?
Have you ever skipped out on a $45 tab? I have skipped out on a food tab one time.
Yeah, I have too.
I'm not gonna. This is a terrible thing to say. I'm not gonna tell you guys this. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on this thing, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
This may get out, and they're gonna come for us.
Well, this is gonna get out, and I'm just not gonna. I don't want to put the authorities out on notice.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and plead the fifth. So anyway,
I want my lawyer present.
I'd like an attorney now. You want to do shout outs? I'd like an attorney instead. What are the Jaguars doing? I mean,
that's a mess.
They got released because they are eventually going to pay for it.
What do you mean they got? Oh yeah, yeah. I wish,
dude. I'm going down to the local car dealership. I'm gonna get myself a Cadillac. I'm gonna drive away, and when they say, "Sir, you got to pay for this," I'm gonna say, "Eventually, I'm gonna pay for this." I mean, if you think about it, isn't this what we do with all big purchases of $45,000 or more, right? Like, don't you go to a car dealership, get a $45,000 vehicle, well, in my case, $22,000 vehicle, and say, "I'll pay it eventually. In fact, I'll pay you in little bits and pieces, month by month, for the next 7 years." How about that? Right?
I know.
All they were doing was financing their bar tab.
Who's to say they didn't pay with their credit card?
Who knows how much interest they were willing to pay. It might have been a good deal for the bar.
Give them a break.
Cut them some slack.
Damn it, I can't ever put on my hat the right way. This sucks.
It's because your head's crooked. All right, man. I think we have gone on and on enough.
We're done.
There's
a Monday Night Football game tonight. New England, Buffalo, whatever.
New England will win.
By a lot.
Hopefully.
You got a shout out?
Yeah, do you?
I do.
I'll let you go first.
My shout out goes to one of the players of the Boston Red Sox. Who, was this going to be yours too?
No. No, but I know what it is.
And, no, it's not Steve Pierce. Sorry. It's actually Mookie Betts. He didn't win MVP. He didn't have... no. It was for his good deeds after Game 2 of the World Series. He went out and he did some charity work and gave food to the homeless. So it was like 1 a.m. when the game finished or whatever. It was late after a World Series game, probably the most important time of his playing career, to go out and do such a good deed. I thought deserved the loudest shout out because you don't see many players doing that. You see it during the off season.
Yeah.
You see it when the weather's nice, but in Boston it's cold, and to not be selfish and think about others is awesome. I thought. So my shout out to Mookie Betts. Not only for winning the World Series, but doing a good deed for those that are in need.
Absolutely. I saw that, and I thought it was a shame it didn't get more run.
Yeah.
Because it was fantastic. Hats off to Mookie Betts for doing that. My shout out goes to Lewis Hamilton. I know we don't talk a whole lot of Formula One here, but when a guy wins his 5th, actually he didn't win it yet. He clinched his 5th Formula One driving championship. That's amazing. To do it 5 times, and it's been over the course of the last 10 years. So it's not like he just did the last 5. So he's been racing for a while. Just fantastic for him and his Mercedes team. The Mercedes team is probably going to win the Constructors' Championship as well. Just a fantastic effort. His worst performance of the year in Mexico City, but it was enough to clinch the championship for him. His 5th. Just a phenomenal driver in a sport that requires nerves of steel. I love. I don't watch a whole lot of Formula One, but I love when they show the camera right. It seems like it's like right on top of the driver's like helmet. It'd be like sitting on his ear, right? And it focuses down on the steering wheel. And these guys aren't driving cars like you and I, right? With just a steering wheel. It's a steering wheel, and it's got like. It looks like the control panels on a plane. I mean, it's got buttons galore, and he's pushing buttons and lights, and it looks like a freaking Christmas tree. And all the while, he's going up to 230 miles an hour. It's just amazing what they do. And I've never driven a race car, but it seems very tiring to concentrate for 2 hours in really what amounts to life or death situations. Because if you make one wrong turn, yikes. And you have to do it with 19 other guys around you trying to do the same thing you are.
You know what gets me about that real quick is in NASCAR, the races are longer, but you got more elbow room. In Formula One, the races are 2 hours long, and you have no room to do anything.
It's like you're in a straitjacket.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is like move your hands a little bit.
That's got to be nerve-wracking.
It's got to be claustrophobic. Like, after a while, I'll be like, dude, I need some air.
Yeah.
Get me out of this thing. I'd like to stretch a little bit. Like, I go to the office. Sometimes I get in front of my computer, and after a couple hours, I'm like, I need to refill some coffee, get up, walk around a little bit, stretch. Not these guys. 2 hours in there.
I do that after 5 minutes of sitting.
Alrighty, man. You got anything else?
No, I don't.
Looks like we've come to the end of another wonderful episode of the Positive Sports Podcast. You know what we haven't told people? We haven't told people how they can contact the show.
Crap.
If you want to reach out to the show, you can do so. Email us at positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If they want to get a hold of you, my brother, how do they do that?
Don't be a leader. Be a follower on Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho, where my account has been suspended.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why they suspended it. So I had to email them and appeal my suspension.
Oh, that never works. You see how it works? It only works in baseball.
Dude, I didn't violate none of the... They have like 3 things that you violate and that can cause your account to get suspended. I didn't
So they
violate...
didn't tell you why what you violated?
Nope. I want my attorney. You want to be my attorney?
Sure.
My Twitter attorney?
That's not going to get you anywhere.
Follow me on Twitter, damn it.
Hey, you can still get a hold of me because I don't break the law. At least not anymore. You can reach me on Twitter as well, at eMontana21. At eMontana21.
Episode 44?
Episode 44. I mean, after the World Series, it's kind of perfect timing, right? The World Series, the Dodgers were in it. So, number 44, Dodger killer, Reggie Jackson.
Oh, shit, yeah. I couldn't... The 2 that I were thinking are nowhere near that. Hold on, someone else wrote 40. Hank Aaron?
Yes, Hank Aaron.
Okay, because the 2 that I was thinking of, Keith Van Horn and Derek Coleman. Derek Coleman.
Whoa. Whoa. You really pulled out the big ones for number 44, buddy.
That goes to show that I'm not looking. I'm not cheating.
Oh, yeah, that proves it for sure. That proves you're a numbskull.
That's the only 2 that would come to mind, bro.
That's hilarious. Do a little research next week, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Come prepared for the show, huh?
Nah, man.
Come prepared for the show.
Straight freestyle.
That's the way we do it. Alrighty, folks. As always, we appreciate your time and listening and watching and reaching out to us and all that neat stuff.
Subscribe and like.
Subscribe, like, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Podbean.
Bada bing, bada boom.
All right. We got to go. As always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.